Watcher's Eye and movement speed Grace Watcher's Eye. What does it do when you put in there and use the beast?
So imagine you have 3 modifiers on the item. All it does is it rolls 33% chance for one of them to roll, and then it rolls that one, and it rolls for any of the modifiers. I don't know how many Watcher's Eye mods it has, but it's not weighted. But basically just chooses like any of the however many Watcher mods there are.
So you can basically turn unusable Watcher's Eyes that would basically be vended into potential treasure.
Basically, yeah. So essentially, like the way that I did it is I didn't even buy, like we didn't even have like a good mod on them specifically. But what would happen through rolling it is that like, oh, maybe you get vitality on hit life, right? And that's good on its own. But you'd keep rolling that because if you do get a second modifier on it, like a hatred conversion, then all of a sudden this thing is like absolutely insane. And if you do lose the life, then yeah, the relative cost is the beast is sort of like kind of expensive, but it's a way to gamble with like almost sure profits, right? The only problem is selling the Watchers after it can take some time.
Yeah. I like that this creates really good items for people in the community as well, which you can use. That's really cool.
I really love this kind of stuff where it's not just like, because I don't particularly like the Harvest Gamble divination card. It's good content for people, but at the same time, it's just a net neutral for the economy, right? It doesn't create anything. It doesn't lose anything. Like, sure, you can get someone that's lucky, but the chance of creating something is as much as the same as deleting something, right? It's a 50-50. It's not weighted. Whereas with the Watcher's Eye, it literally takes something that's completely useless and it can turn it into something good, right? To something that people can literally use in their build. So I think in that regard, it's really, really cool. And same thing with the Synth Beast. And I'm sure Ellie got a lot to say about that beast.
Okay, basically the Synth Beast works really similar to the Watcher's Eye Beast. If you have an item with 3 synthesis implicits, it's gonna reroll one of the 3, okay? The problem is that you can imprint with a Crysic Chimeral the item while it's blue, and then you can bring it back in time. For example, let's say you get 1 arrow on a bow, and then you get a dead mod and a dead mod. You can imprint the bow with the 1 arrow, and then you can make it magic, and then imprint it with a Crysic Chimeral, and you can use a Crysic Vulture, it's called, to reroll the implicit, and it will take one of the 3, and after it takes one of the 3, it will reroll to any other synthesis implicit on the base. But they're extremely weighted. That is the big problem. So if you want to get Explode, for example, or tier 1 Fizz on the bow after you got the arrow, getting the mod is super weighted, and it's gonna take you hundreds of rerolls. And this crafting method is super top heavy, so only like the really, really rich crafters can do this, and they snowball their money like crazy, because once they get one good base, they can make a mirror tier item, and people will mirror it because it's way too expensive to craft one similar to that. It costs like 10 mirrors probably to make one, even more. And then once you have like the good base, you can make infinite money off of mirror fees, and then just keep making mirror tier items over and over. It's extremely top heavy, and all the big crafters are like making infinite currency doing this. But the items that we get are the best of all times. Even in Synthesis League, we couldn't really get anything like that, because on the synthesizer, you had to alteration spam or scour alch until you got like the perfect mod that you wanted. And then you put in the synthesizer and you get implicits randomly. And you usually get 1 or 2 good ones. It's really hard to get 3 really perfect ones, right? It was super rare to do that. But now, since we can imprint, we can just keep going forever until we get the mod that we want.
It's basically deterministic, right? It's not a matter of will I get it, it's a matter of will I have enough currency to get it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's how they're crafting it. It's like this is like a 1 in 200 to get the mod, and I have this amount of money, and I just go and keep going until I get it.
That's pretty crazy, man. Sounds like there's some pretty wild opportunities. Now, the thing is, though, both of those beasts come from a memory. And I think those memories are pretty rare, man, right? Like 1 in 200 maps or something like that, I would have to guess would probably be the rough estimate for me.
Yeah.
I don't think I've dropped that memory specifically. I've dropped like a bunch of obviously there's so many memories that you could be like technically unlucky because of how rare they are. But yeah, I didn't drop one of those. I dropped like a bunch of harvest ones, but it feels like that one is very rare.
Interesting. I've actually dropped quite a few of them. I've dropped
Yeah,
quite
dropped a
few
lot as
wall
well.
memories. Yeah.
Between 5 to 10, I think.
That's actually quite interesting because maybe it's based on what kind of content you're doing. Maybe it's like how much quantity you have on the map or something like that. But yeah, I'm not sure. Pretty interesting. But yeah, I think do you guys think there's too much power in memories? Like, I know we haven't talked about it too much right now, but all of the Einhorn memories are like very expensive, right?
Yeah,
The
they're like over
Essence one